Welcome to the Restoration Revolution podcast, where we help restore hope and put your family on the road to recovery, one episode at a time. Here's your host and owner of Hazard Clean Restoration, Chad Mallonee.
Dive into the depth of a particularly challenging water damage restoration project with the expert at Hazard Clean Restoration. Welcome back, everyone. This is Garfield Bowen, co-host / producer, back in the studio with Chad Mallonee. How you doing today, Chad?
I'm doing great, Garfield. Doing great.
So, Chad, could you share a particular challenging water damage restoration project which you handled and how you overcame it?
Particularly challenging. So there's a lot of challenging ones that we've run into. One that sticks out, I'll just say from challenge because it ended up being a good positive and a good learning for the customer, for everyone. But we had I think a water damage project that we ran into, and it ended up being pretty kind of normal initially, and then we ran into a little area of it that we were kind of trying to figure out what was going on. And so initially it was a pipe, one of those copper pipes that sprung a leak and ended up getting into the wall cavities. All the water got into two different rooms, and so we got called in. We had a local plumber came out. They went ahead and fixed the leak, so we were good. We didn't have any more water intruding into the building. We were able to kind of devise our drying plan, and we started. And at first, everything was going as scheduled. All the impacted materials there was were drying. Everything was going as planned, and then we noticed that some areas all of a sudden weren't really drying to the as effective as they should have been, and some areas were actually retaining water, and so we really had to call a timeout and reassess, because when we're drying materials, typically they go as scheduled, it's our drying plans are based on math and science. They're not based on hopes and dreams. We don't just stick some machines in there or whichever and just call it a day. I mean, it's all based on math and science. And, when materials aren't drying effectively, you have to really try to take a time out and try to get to the bottom of it. And so what we actually figured out, it was two key areas, or challenges, I should say, that we ran into. And the first one was that pipe in a little different area sprang another leak, and it was a really, really small pinhole leak, but it was enough to start adding obviously some moisture to that wall cavity. And when you repair, especially copper pipes, when you repair them, if they're older copper pipes, that does happen at times, because there's a pressure from the copper pipe. When it first leaks, it's releasing that pressure, so that old copper pipe can hold the integrity because it has that little leak. When you repair that, now the pressure inside that pipe goes back up, and at times it can spring another leak somewhere. And so that this is what occurred on this job site. And so we brought brought a plumber in. They fixed that leak, so we were good there. We figured out that, but we couldn't figure out why some of the materials in different areas that weren't associated with that the area with the leak weren't drying the way they should have been drying. And
Chad, let me interrupt you for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring this home a little bit. How long did it take you to find out that there was a leak?
How long? It took a good couple hours.
Talk about those times that you couldn't figure it out. How did it make you feel?
Well, you're trying to figure it out with math and science, right? And so you're trying to recalculate everything and try to, you're scratching your brain because nothing is, drying the way it should be. And so, it's definitely frustrating.
Yeah, that's something I just wanted to, because that's the pivotal point. I mean, not knowing could really drive you crazy. So, how did the project end up?
Well, we ended up drying it. What ended up occurring with the other materials that weren't associated with the leak, the property owner was turning off the air movers before they went to bed because they were driving them crazy, so they could sleep. And so we didn't know that, because every time we showed up, all the equipment was running, and so that was what was causing the other issue. And so we explained that that's just going to cause this to take a lot longer to dry, and it was a good aha moment for that property owner, and it ended up. We dried it. We hit all of our dry standards. It ended up being definitely a successful project, but we had some headaches in between that we were obviously able to figure out.
So you got the job done again, huh, Chad?
We did.
Okay, good stuff. Great story. Listen, you have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll see you in the next episode.
All right. Take care, Garfield.
Thanks for listening to the Restoration Revolution podcast, where recovery starts here. Let us help put your family on the road to recovery. Go to hazardclean.net or call 772-259-5018. That's 772-259-5018.